Hello everyone, welcome back to Bodybuilding Nation. Today I've got some fascinating updates from the bodybuilding world to share with you, including impressive physique reveals from Samson Dauda, Terrence Ruffin, and Fabian Mayer. Let's dive right in. Samson Dauda after 8 weeks off. First up, we have a remarkable update from Samson Dauda after 8 weeks of being off. Now, when Samson says off, many might assume he's still running a moderate dose of compounds, perhaps 500 milligrams or more, but from what I understand, when he was working with Milos Sarcev, their off periods meant completely clean, 0 compounds. According to both Samson and Milos, they would go completely off during these phases, and I have no reason to doubt this. 8 weeks isn't really long enough to lose significant mass, especially with Samson's genetics, and the evidence is clear in these photos. He looks absolutely incredible for someone who's been off for 2 months. Perhaps he's lost some muscle hardness, but that's about it. Size-wise and even conditioning-wise, he's maintained an impressive physique. In his caption, Samson mentions this is the best he's ever looked during this cleaning out phase. Having followed his career closely for years, I can't recall him ever looking this good after a period off-cycle. His conditioning has remained remarkably close to competition shape, not dramatically different from his Arnold Classic appearance. I'm assuming he's not consuming excessive calories, but rather focusing on maintenance during this phase. What off actually means could possibly include TRT doses, some growth hormone, or peptides. We don't know for certain. But considering he's not running a full protocol right now, this physique is truly impressive. From the side views, you can see his shoulders have lost some of that 3D pop and fullness, but his overall size remains substantial and his conditioning is excellent. This bodes extremely well for his Mr. Olympia preparation. The big question now is, can Samson reclaim the Olympia title, especially after losing to Derek Lunsford at the Arnold Classic? If we compare Derek at his best, Arnold Classic, versus Samson at his best, last year's Olympia, I'd probably give the edge to Derek. Derek was truly phenomenal at the Arnold. However, we need to remember that Samson likely wasn't at 100% at last year's Olympia, perhaps closer to 90% or even less. The critical question is whether Samson can bring something new and improved to this year's Olympia stage and whether Derek can replicate his Arnold Classic condition. Both men are more than capable of winning, they've both done it before. They're extremely close in terms of quality, and it will come down to who brings the better package on the day. If both were at absolute 100%, I might give Samson the edge simply because he's a different level of freak. That said, I'm assuming equal conditioning in that scenario, which isn't a given. At the 2024 Olympia, Samson still had room for improvement in terms of conditioning. If he can push himself both physically and mentally to achieve an even more shredded look while maintaining his size, I can see him winning. But that's a significant if. Right now, it's an incredibly tight battle between Derek, Samson, and Hadi Choopan. And let's not forget potential surprises from Martin Fitzwater, Nick Walker, or another competitor who might shock the world. Samson currently looks remarkable, especially considering his time off. It's quite rare for competitors at this level to take such extended breaks, but Samson doesn't necessarily need more size. As Fouad Abiad discussed on his podcast, Samson apparently grows even when he's not trying to, even while dieting for shows. This could partly be because when he reintroduces compounds after being completely off, he gets leaner and bigger simultaneously. It's extraordinary that at his level of competition and muscular development, he's still able to add more tissue year after year. At the Arnold Classic, I didn't see significant improvement over his Olympia package. His conditioning was actually worse, though he appeared larger. But would he have looked bigger if he had been equally conditioned? I'm not convinced he made real progress in terms of overall size, though his arms did appear improved. I want to see Samson at his absolute best at the Olympia. If he can deliver superior conditioning while maintaining his current muscle mass or even adding slightly more size, he's likely to win. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Terrence Ruffin, 4 weeks out. Next, let's talk about the most recent physique update from Terrence Ruffin. These photos were taken approximately 4.5 weeks out from the Pittsburgh Pro, and frankly, his conditioning looks nearly complete. There doesn't appear to be much more work needed in that department. In his caption, Terrence mentions, "Making weight won't be a problem, energy is good. Making progress in the gym, things clicking well with coach. He also notes he's working with a posing coach named Hani Nasir, which is interesting considering Terrence is widely regarded as one of the best posers in the world. However, everyone benefits from another set of eyes, especially someone who can observe him hitting mandatory poses and help optimize how he presents his physique. Perhaps they're determining what works best for him or implementing new elements into his posing routine. I don't think Terrence needs coaching on basic posing execution, transitions, or stage presence. There are few, if any, better posers than him currently. He certainly knows what he's doing, and I wonder if he even needs a posing coach, but it probably can't hurt. Though I suppose there's always the risk that another coach might suggest something suboptimal for his particular physique. Terrence also mentions he's in a great mental space, which is crucial. Looking at these recent updates, I'm noticing something interesting. During his off-season, I expected Terrence to bring substantial size to the stage once conditioned, but now that he's leaner, he appears somewhat smaller than anticipated. I hesitate to use words like stringy or slim, neither accurately captures it, but he does look less massive than I projected. When comparing him to the best in the world, particularly Chris Bumstead or Mike Sommerfeld, who he might face at the Olympia if Mike recovers health-wise, Terrence doesn't carry the same mass as Mike in these photos. Perhaps it's just the lighting, angles, or shadows playing tricks. Maybe when he stands alongside competitors on stage, he'll appear much larger. He mentions that making weight won't be a problem, which is actually potentially concerning in classic physique. Ideally, you'd want to struggle to make weight while being shredded, as that would indicate you're maximizing your frame. If he's comfortably making weight at this condition, it suggests he could potentially carry more mass. I still believe Terrence will win the Pittsburgh Pro without question. But regarding the Olympia and potentially facing Mike Sommerfeld, classic physique has evolved to prioritize size within the weight cap more than traditional classic aesthetics. The formula for success seems to be get as big as possible within your weight limit, achieve maximum conditioning, and maintain reasonable aesthetics. You can't look completely blocky and succeed. You need decent proportions, symmetry, and flow. But if two competitors are equally conditioned and one is significantly larger while still maintaining adequate aesthetics, the larger competitor typically wins. Conversely, if two competitors are similar in size and conditioning, the one with superior aesthetics will prevail. At the Olympia level, everyone has reasonably classic structure, so it often comes down to size and conditioning. Based on these current photos, I'm not convinced Terrence has the size to defeat Mike Sommerfeld, though I can absolutely see him placing second if Mike appears. For the Pittsburgh Pro, though, against competitors like Urs Kalesinski, Ramon Dino, Logan Franklin, and others, I still favor Terrence for the win. In the off-season, I anticipated him being substantially larger when shredded, but now that he's leaned out, he doesn't appear to have the mass I expected. Still, he looks phenomenal and should dominate in Pittsburgh. Fabian Mayer, 11 weeks out. Finally, let's look at Fabian Mayer, who goes by Classy FM on Instagram, who's currently 11 weeks out from competition. For those who might not remember, Fabian placed in the top 5 at the Olympia a few years back. I believe it was 2022, but correct me if I'm wrong. He was one of the top contenders at one point, then faced health issues that kept him sidelined. Now he's making his comeback. Working with coach Patrick Tuor, who's also responsible for Logan Franklin's impressive transformation, Fabian already looks remarkably conditioned at 11 weeks out. While not quite stage ready, he's certainly not far off. I'm unsure how much more weight he needs to lose to make the classic physique cap, but his conditioning is exceptional for being nearly 3 months from competition. He could likely be stage ready in about 4 weeks at this pace. I'm curious about their strategy, whether this early conditioning is part of Patrick's approach, or if they plan to continue pushing his condition further. If he's this lean at 11 weeks out, he could potentially bring an incredibly detailed package to the stage. According to his caption, he's preparing for the Portugal Pro, though I believe he's also planning to compete in Austria, his home country. His appearance at the Austrian show has some competitors reconsidering their participation, not just because of his impressive physique, but also because hometown competitors often receive favorable treatment. Will he win the Portugal Pro? I'm not certain who else is competing, but based on what we're seeing, he's definitely going to be a serious contender at any show he enters. He has the potential to be a top 5 to 6 competitor at the Olympia, perhaps not winning it outright, but certainly making an impact in the upper ranks. His physique displays phenomenal shape, excellent classic lines, and great structure. And again, if his conditioning is this impressive 11 weeks out, imagine how he'll look come show day. He has tremendous potential and could definitely shake up the Classic Physique division upon his return. That wraps up today's updates. What do you think about Samson's impressive physique after 8 weeks off? Will Terrence have enough size to challenge at the Olympia? And how excited are you to see Fabian's return to the stage? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. And for more bodybuilding content like this, subscribe to Bodybuilding Nation. Thanks for watching.